Bonjour. Hola chicos, or ciao ragazzi. Hello everyone, hope everybody is well. Awesome drink, of course. Maté, naturally. Nope. Now, announcements first. At the end of this, talking about perfumes, I'm going to share more about the Sora Dora Discovery Series, which is happening this Sunday. And then I'm going to give you a little bit more insight on all things Discovery Series. What does this mean? And then the 9-day luxury tour, hotels. I've got a little bit of a surprise coming up with Magnapaz, and I want to share that with you guys. But first, I've been testing, and this is Chipmunk from Zoologist. Now, I first want to acknowledge this wonderful young lady. Mercedes has been an early subscriber to the channel. She is actually one of the OGs in joining me on what was first. I wonder if this is a good idea, doing the tours and doing these fragrance tours and going behind the scenes with people, you know. Mercedes actually joined on the very first Exxon's tour back in 2022 and has subsequently joined every other tour. She's actually joining us again in September. So for me, Mercedes is one of the gangsters of the NFC channel, and I thank her for it. Now, the last time when we caught up, we were in Monaco, and she says, "You're always talking about Zoologist. I know you don't have them in Australia, so let me give you a whole bunch of samples." And she gave me like a massive collection of the Zoologist. Now, I left them in the bag because it was almost like, what's the point of testing these out if I can't actually then go to the next step, which is go out and add it to my collection until now. So I think I mentioned to you guys, Noah is got a beautiful showroom here in Melbourne. Noah's got the full collection. Currently and I've just discovered that worldwide, Zoologist is out of stock. I mean, if I was the owner of Zoologist, I'd be like going, "This Monsieur Victor," I'm like, yes. So congratulations to them on the success that they've achieved. But anyway, Noah's got it in town now, and so I now will begin or have commenced all my testing. I mentioned last 2 or 3 weeks ago, Harvest Mouse, gorgeous, and I strongly recommend it. I look at my favorite fragrance. This one here was recommended to me by one of the subscribers probably about a week or so ago, Chipmunk. And I have a feeling I'm gonna fall in love with all of them, and I'm gonna be super not reliable. You're not gonna be able to get objectivity from me because this is now the second one that I've picked up, and I thought, let's give it a go. And it's freaking awesome. I was gonna say freaking awesome. I said it, freaking awesome. It is. It's a really, and this is what I love. I love the journey that a perfume takes you on, and also conjures up a particular mood or idea. They do remind me a little bit of the Orto Parisis in the sense that each one of the Orto Parisis tell a story. You know, it's more than just a beautiful perfume, which is what they are. This one also too, so naturally it embodies what a chipmunk might be. And this is similar to the image on the cover. This is a happy chipmunk. You're living in a very healthy forest, and there are beautiful wood notes all around you. There is a texture of nuttiness, some sort of a nut profile. So it's beyond woods essentially. And there's also then like a creaminess to it, but not like tonic. It's a nutty creaminess. Like think of eating beautiful almonds or hazelnut, and I've discovered it does have hazelnut, but it always retains that forest-like quality to it. When it opens, and let me have a look, what did I write here? Big bop, boom, 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 bing, boom. Because the opening is quite unique and not the notes that you see. So yes, now I remember now. It lists things like quince and red mandarin, I don't know what that means. But then it lists a number of different spices, cardamom and nutmeg and all the rest of it. What I get is a very beautiful spiciness to it, to the point where I did think it maybe had like a cinnamon or a cinnamon bark, because everything leans woody in its profile. Nothing leans at all gourmand or anything of that nature. When I did read nutmeg, I resprayed again. Unfortunately, I mean, can I just say, testers, the little samples are never fun to use, to be honest. But anyway, it gives you an idea of the fragrance. So I sprayed again to smell it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think it's that woody nutmeg profile, spiciness, the spiciness in there. Then it goes into this very robust cedar-like quality to it. And I think of pencil shaving. You know, as a kid, when you do the shaving, you smell that woodiness, that the shavings of it has that semblance. However, it's deeper and more forest-like. I know that there are, in looking at it, there are an explosion of different woody green notes in there. Things like vetiver, patchouli, cedar. There was a popanax. There is amaris. So all these beautiful resins that are in the actual. There's even fir balsam in there too. So you're getting a very intense, but not intense, because I think intense, I think of like VITAE from Nasumato, which is, it's also forest-like, but it has sort of the rotting undergrowth. It stays in the canopy. This fragrance is up above, it's away from that anything rotting down the bottom. It's actually chirpy and cheerful, and like a chipmunk living up in the top part of the tree with nuts and I'm guessing, I've never been a chipmunk, so I don't know what they do. But I do know that there is also like a hazelnut note in there. So the other thing that I love about, and what I've discovered so far with these two zoologists that I've tested so far, is that it doesn't cleanly go, you know, when I look at a note, go, oh yeah, hazelnut. And so you get that, you can picture that nutty hazelnut texture to it. In fact, it's really a very a beautiful composition, a very round composition. All these different notes don't necessarily stand out to become something. They're all about creating this whole and a holistic picture of the whole thing. So, long story to tell you, I like chipmunk. And I think chipmunk is awesome. For me, in this kind of weather, which is, Melbourne has gone wacky. I've got some more summer lineups, and I'll tell you about those in a minute. But the last couple of days have been fantastic. Today has been just like crazy. Sunny, and then rain, and then sunshine, and then cold, and then so who knows what's going on. Whereas, so this fragrance here has been working fantastic. I've got it on skin. Give me 1 second. So I've moved away from that pencil shaving, but I'm getting the very clear cedar-like quality to it. And then I'm getting the resins, what I imagine a tree resin would smell like. There is this has probably been on my skin now for about an hour and a half, and it moves again from here. It does go into that more sort of nutty creaminess, but retains the wood-like quality to it. Recommend it. Good fun fragrance to play around with, and zoologists so far proving to be, which I already knew from a lot of comments that I've been reading, proving to be an awesome house to explore. So I will be going into a lot more. Now, let me move through to almost like where I left off. Last week, I mentioned that I wanted to have 10 fragrances as a summer lineup. I knew that it was going to become just way too long a production, so I pushed some aside. Okay, well, that summer episode last week did really well, so I'm going to bring you 5 more. So I'm going to put 5 more fragrances for you guys to explore in summer. The good news is some of these you can actually do now, sort of southern hemisphere, you can actually do now here. I mean, I've been wearing some of these over the last few days. Again, Melbourne's been very special, and so as a result, these fragrances are working a treat. Let me go with the first one. I mentioned to you guys last week that a good neroli fragrance is almost like a minimum in somebody's collection. I've discovered that I've got a fairly large array of neroli fragrances. I do like that bitter, orange, white floral sort of take, and I do like its different expressions and iterations. One that I would recommend to you that isn't necessarily a neroli fragrance, but I feel like it tries to express itself as a neroli fragrance, and that is MÉDIE by TRUDON. This is an awesome brand. So most people know TRUDON to be the candle maker, which is where they started. Here's the date. I can't remember, 1621. See how good I was. I think that's the date. Anyway, they got involved in perfumery. Now, just as I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to packaging and bottles and whatnot, and I have to say that I love their bottles, their design, and then this very just awesome looking industrial design lid. And if you love TRUDON, which I do, and I've got a lot of their stuff, you'll find that there's a beautiful symmetry between all these different things. This fragrance here, MÉDIE. So MÉDIE is in short for Mediterranean, and the idea is that you are now in a Mediterranean landscape, which includes things like the citruses, the florals. You're seeing the Mediterranean Ocean. You're standing somewhere that is sun-kissed. You're on a, not necessarily on a cliff, because it's not a aquatic fragrance, but you are part of this Mediterranean landscape, which includes the Mediterranean Sea and the sunshine and the trees and all those pieces that when you think of, I think of Italy, or the south of Italy, you know, and that's what sort of I conjure up when I think of Mediterranean. Mind you, I even think of like around now I won't say, because maybe my geography is off, and then I'll be like, hey, that's not in the Mediterranean. Anyway, Italy, definitely in the Mediterranean. So what happens here is it opens up with a beautiful burst of citruses. And this is where I go back to that. So for those people who may not like Neo, and there were some comments last week saying that it doesn't last long, and that doesn't last long was one of the main ones, I think. Here you'll find that you're going to get a lot more longevity. The difference is that the citrus becomes a little bit sharper in the dry down. Opens up very bright because it does have a mandarin and a grapefruit note. But as it migrates through, it goes into the white floral expression. There is jasmine in the heart. But it does dry down into vetiver and frankincense. And when I remember reading frankincense, because obviously we associate that to incense and Gothic church, blah, blah, blah. But here, the frankincense is more green-like. It has a green tinge to it. I had the privilege, there's a gentleman who is a supporter of the channel, Gary, thank you, my friend. He allowed me to use the LV Atlas, which carries 40 different, I think it was, different notes in there. And one of them was frankincense, and I was surprised. And when I smelt the raw ingredient, that frankincense, it's actually green. It has a green, crisp sharpness to it. And that's what I find exists here in MÉDIE. All right, so dry down. So even though it has the vetiver in it, and you'd think vetiver will make you go into a bit more sort of grassy, earthy style, in fact, what I'm getting here is a sharp grapefruit. That's the sort of, and now this is probably about an hour and a half or so in its dry down. I'm getting a very sharp grapefruit. The citrus brightness has come back. But now that green, I'm going to say is the frankincense, is present. So you're getting a beautiful green, grapefruit brightness to it. I feel, to my opinion, it does lean a little bit more on the masculine side, meaning that it's more, it has like the greens are a lot more robust. There's no sort of, yes, there is a white floral or jasmine in the heart, but you're not getting, you know, that, the lightness of the white floral. Having said that though, there's no reason why this too can't be a beautiful female fragrance. What I do find that it does have great longevity because of those more, I guess, bigger core notes down the bottom. I am getting 7+ hours without a problem, and I find that the sillage is moderate. It actually has a really nice push. So if you are a little bit unhappy with Neo, even though I still love it and I still recommend it, I know that it gives me 5 hours, but I'm happy with that. So if you want something with a bit more sort of bones to it, a bit more push, MÉDIE is what I would recommend to you as a gorgeous summer fragrance that works really well, or even on a day like today, it does work really well. Okay, next one. The other one that I'd like to share to you is MFK, and this is AQUA VITAE FORTE. They have different sort of iterations. I think I mentioned last week, I'm not into buying multiple or flankers. If I find that it's a little bit of this similar to that, then I'm out. But if it is, so in this one here, there's like 3 or 4 in that AQUA VITAE, and same with Universalis. I grab the one that resonates best with me, and I love the Forte one. I find that it has really good presence, it has great push on it, great longevity, and I do love the evolution of this particular fragrance. The key part to this, now I wrote here earlier, softens, this is true, I wrote this down, softens my world. What does that even mean? But this is what I wrote. Normally what I like to do is just let myself flow in my thoughts. So rather than try to curate what I'm thinking or so I spray, smell, and what am I thinking? What am I feeling? I wrote here, softens my world, makes me happy. And I think that next part makes me happy because as I wrote, softens my world. I mean, what does that even mean? But I'm like, I think what it is what I'm trying to say is that it brings sunshine. There is, that some fragrance like MÉDIE invigorate you, and you literally you spray and you're like, I'm ready to go. Whereas I find that AQUA FORTE, VITAE FORTE, has a softness to it. It has this. It's not cloud-like. Doesn't put you to sleep or anything of that nature. But it just, and again, it just makes me happy. It just sort of brings this ray of sunshine. I guess the best way to define it is think of a cloudy day, even though it's a beautiful day in summer, but it's cloudy, and all of a sudden the clouds part and this sunshine busts through, and there's this sense of peace and happiness as a result of that. And that's what this does for me. It is connected to a lot of great memories. I had an opportunity to be invited by a gentleman called Antoine Bakash to Kuala Lumpur. We did some work here in Australia for his boutique, which is True Fit and Hill. Loved what we did, and he said, how about if true story, how about if I send you to Kuala Lumpur and you do a video with my Maison Francis KURKDJIAN stand? And I'm like, when can we go? Was my response. So this I bought over there, and this is what I was wearing in Kuala Lumpur. So on exceptionally high humidity, on exceptionally high heat, this baby here is bada boom, absolutely magical. And the key for me, there are three keynotes, 3 or 4. Let me have a look what I write here. 3 keynotes with one is a feeling. The 3 keynotes on that opening, there is a beautiful mandarin, and I love mandarin citrus in any fragrance. I find that it's sugary and bright and bubbly and happy. Then in the heart of it is ylang ylang, another floral that is solar. It's beautiful. It's voluminous. It has a roundness to it, a succulent nature to it. And then orange blossom. I love orange blossom. I've mentioned before, if you have an orange blossom tree that's close to you, stop, pause, and smell that white floral on that tree. I was gonna say it's life-changing. I don't know if it's life-changing, but it's definitely, the different facets that are in that are just incredible, whether it's honeyed-like, the nectar piece of it, then the white floral part, and that tinge of orange. It's just gorgeous. All of that exists here. And then there is a cardamom, which is, so when I first discovered there was cardamom in it, I'm like, I don't get, because I'm not getting that. I'm getting like a spice. But I find that the cardamom presents itself on the dry down. It doesn't see all these other notes, the mandarin, the ylang ylang, and the orange blossom can be a little bit nectar-like, a bit sweet-like. Whereas I find that the cardamom, to me, it's green. So it brings it back, sort of peels back that sweetness and gives it a bit more of a balance. Starts off very bright, very, very alluring, very happy, very sunshine, but then it does dry down to something that is quite, something that is wearable for a man. I think that's what I'm probably saying, because if it's all these sort of more brighter notes, and I'll talk about that in just a second, very sugary and florals, to me, it leans a little bit more feminine, whereas here, a woman can definitely wear this, but a man can very comfortably wear this too, and still feel good about it, or not feel that it's overtly floral and feminine. So, dry down again, probably, I told you, what, an hour and a half, or I'm not going to say it again, so it's been about an hour and a half on everything here. But here, I'm still getting the orange blossom, white floral piece to it, a tinge of that fruit in there, but now it's that greenness, and I'm going to say it's that cardamom, and other notes that might be there. But it still has a softness to it. It still has this beautiful sunshine, solar softness to it. Massive recommendation. Interestingly, Sandra does not like this fragrance, and you would think that with all those notes in there, that would be nicely feminine fragrance that she would enjoy. Doesn't like it. In fact, she likes its companion, which I feel it's its companion, which is Universalis, AQUA Universalis. Also Forte. As I was testing over the weekend, getting ready for today, I wore this and Universalis, and she's like, nah, too sweet. There's no vanilla, there's no sweetness other than those citrus notes. whereas she was wearing Universalis and loved it. For me, it's a little bit more neroli, and I already gave you a neroli option plus MÉDIE, so I thought I'm going to do something a little bit different. Boom, this is the one that I would recommend to you. Long lasting. The last part is that it is very long lasting. It does have great presence, as I mentioned. Even in heat, high heat, I didn't sweat it off. It stayed with me. Great day fragrance that can transition into night without a problem. You can wear it either or. All right, now the next one is, sorry, I've just done no breaks. I'm impressed. All right, so have a look at this great man here. I talked about him last week. I called him the Wizard. This is Ibrahim the Wizard. I do love all things PANA Dora. He is just incredible. I will be doing more on PANA Dora. We'll create, actually I'm creating a discovery series, so I'll tell you more about that shortly, but yeah. Last week I spoke about this one, which is great as a masculine fragrance, okay? So some of the comments that came through, predominantly from what I saw, these were all men who were going, AQUA Dora, fantastic, etc., etc. All right, so ladies. Boys, don't switch off, because this is something that, this is a secret weapon for you boys to buy for your partner, and I'll tell you why. So this is DORASIMA. Now, in preparation for today, I sprayed it on just so I wanted to see what it's like. I had to wash it off. It was on my skin, and it was interesting because I even compared it on my skin versus my daughter-in-law, and she also sprayed it. It was two different fragrances. So on my skin, it was sweet, it was sickly, it was, florals were over the top. It was, I'm like, even to the point she smelled where I had placed the fragrance, and she's like, is that the same one? Because that doesn't smell nice. It smells weird on you. And it did. So I do not spray DORASIMA. It's in fact Sandra. It's fragrance. Well, Sandra, I was going to say, it's in fact Sandra's my wife's fragrance. But I think most people know that Sandra is my wife. This is what I get. And then I'll tell you what's in the notes. So when you smell this fragrance, you get the most, everything is heavenly and everything with a soft glow. So first picture that, all right? So soft and sunshine and cloud-like and blue sky and puffiness, you know, with the clouds. So you get this beautiful peach or pear or lychee or green apple. Just a wonderful fruity touch to the fragrance when it opens up. It then migrates to this beautiful white floral bouquets. You're not quite sure whether there's a touch of powderiness in there, but then there's this touch of jasmine. Nothing is indolic. Nothing is not nice or unpleasant. Everything is soft and round and gentle. And then when it dries down, I'm not detecting any. If anything, maybe it dries down more musky-like and sort of more skin-like quality, but always with those florals and a touch of that sweetness. This is now deeper in, a touch of that sweetness in the actual fragrance. Okay. There's no fruits. The three fruit notes are citruses: bergamot, lemon, and orange. What? So I always say that Ibrahim is a wizard, because I'm like, I look at notes, I smell the fragrance, and I'm like, oh yeah, big boop boop. Then I look at the notes, and I'm like, what in the world? What is going on here? So then in the heart, he says that there are bouquets, and in that bouquet, there's a list of different notes in there, and basically everything that you can think of. So ylang ylang rose, violet, actually, boom, all these here. And then in the base of it are a number of woody notes, but I do not detect anything woody-like. If anything, as I said, it's more soft and musk-like. In preparation for today, I had this on my counter at home. A number of different friends and family came visiting. I invited them to spray this, primarily the women. I invited them to smell this and spray it and test it for themselves. And every single woman, and I know that sounds like I'm over-exaggerating, I promise you, there were 5 people, all 5 loved this fragrance. There were other fragrances there, and I'm like, what do you think of, even a Zerjoff was in that mix, and I said, what do you think of this one? They're like, yeah, not so much. But every single person was like, whoa, what is this? I sprayed it on Grace just before. And she also said that there was beautiful fruits and all the rest of it. I like what she had to say, which was champagne. So there was to her, there was a champagne note that was coming through on that opening. Again, there's no champagne. There's no constructed note. Bergamot, lemon, orange, boom. This is amazing on a female skin. Maybe there's men out there that can wear it. This man cannot. My son also put it on. It did not work on him. However, my son, my daughter-in-law put it on her, and when my son smelled, he did this involuntary, and he gave her a look that we all then laughed, all three of us, because it was completely involuntary. He gave her this look like, I have a thing on the channel called, baby, what's your name? And that was the kind of feeling that was created as a result of this fragrance. So as a summer fragrance, just absolutely gorgeous. When it comes to its sillage and projection and performance overall, 12 plus hours. Sandra was wearing it on Sunday and it smelled heavenly and magical all around her. I did detect that 12 hours later, so this is now me responding to the fragrance. So a fantastic recommendation. As a summer fragrance, Dorisma. So boys, you wear Aqua de Dora. Girls, Dorisma is all for you. All right, next. Let me tell you a story. Story time. So first, have a look at this. This is me exploring this incredible place in Paris. It's the boutique for FLORAÍKU. As I mentioned earlier, I love all things packaging. I love design and bottles, and obviously I love the beautiful fragrance. And this for me ticks every box. Now, it was April 2023. I'm just going to make sure that my dates are right. April 2023, we had gone to, Sandra and I had gone to Europe to prepare ourselves ready for the tour that was happening in September 2023. While we were there, we obviously, I think I've mentioned to you, whenever we go to Europe, we always pay our homage to Rome. We always go to Rome as a way of saying goodbye or hello to Italy. And we were in Rome, we walked into a boutique and we came across a fragrance called Sand and Skin by FLORAÍKU. Boom, I'll just show it to you, okay? Sandra sprayed it, fell in love, but ridiculously in love. She asked for a decant, I gave her a decant, we left. Anyway, Sandra is not a shopper, all right? So the shopper guy is me. Sandra is the type of person that will love something, and even though she loves it, she just won't buy. I actually buy things for her. Sometimes she gets really angry with me, but I still, anyway. So the whole time, Sand and Skin, Sand and Skin, Sand and Skin. But no, I'm like, let's go get it. And she's like, no, we've got enough perfume. There's more than enough perfumes. We don't need more perfume, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we jump on the plane, and she must have sprayed it before. She's like, Sand and Skin. And I'm like, we should have bought it, babe. It's like, no. Anyway, we get home. And Sand and Skin and Sand and Skin, and she's carrying on about Sand and Skin. And I'm like, and she's saying to me, you promise me now, when we get to back to Europe in September, because we don't have FLORAÍKU here in Australia, you're going to buy me Sand and Skin like it's a threat. I'm like, sure, sweetheart, I'll buy you Sand and Skin, you know. And the whole time, I even remember being on the plane, going over in September, and she's like, you know, you kept your promise. I mean, so you make sure you keep your promise. Sand and Skin, Sand and Skin. Yeah, Sand and Skin. I'll buy it for you, no worries. We go to the boutique, and if you ever get a chance to go to that boutique, Sergio is the man. He is awesome. His knowledge of the brand is incredible, and his demeanor, the way that he shares. It's very softly spoken, and he takes you on this journey. He's fantastic as a brand champion. Anyway, one thing that FLORAÍKU do is that it's Flora haiku. So they work in the classic haiku sort of format, which is 3 lines. And so he sprays Sand and Skin, and I'm like, yeah, no worries, just put on my tab. That's the one we're gonna buy. And he's like, no, let me explain it to you. Sand and Skin, and then he says, and back. So he says to her, he sprays it, pop, 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 and he says, the 3 core notes in here is benzoin, ylang ylang, and vanilla. As soon as he said vanilla, and I'm like, man. Because Sandra goes, oh, vanilla? Oh, I don't like vanilla. She's only been banging on about this fragrance for 6 months. And all of a sudden, she heard the words vanilla, and she's like, you're right, it has vanilla in it. That was it. Sand and Skin off the schedule. But because I'm the shopper, I'm like, put on my tab. I'm buying Sand and Skin because I don't want to hear about it after I leave and get back home. And actually, we should have got Sand and Skin. So anyway, Sand and Skin. I'd recommend this one here as a beautiful evening fragrance. This is now sensuality on overdrive. I wrote here, seductive, sensual, aphrodisiac. I know it does have vanilla, but you don't identify it as cleanly as you would in most vanilla fragrances. Take something like Fire at Will or vanilla powder, and boom, vanilla is with a spotlight on. It's in the center of the stage and you know that it's there. Whereas in here, yes, like it happened with Sandra, oh yeah, it's got vanilla in it. But when you take it as a composition, it's actually quite incredible and divine. The wild part about it, let me just, where did I put it? It's here. Is that when it opens up, it has a weird animalic sass to it. And I think that sand and skin part of it is definitely a component of the fragrance. It's part of its architecture because skin is stinky. So when you smell, so forget washing yourself and now smell yourself after say 12, 24 hours. Give yourself 24 hours. And you smell your skin, you smell it actually has a sass to it. There's something, you know, animalic and funky about it, depending, and then depending where you're smelling. We won't go into that. But you know, you do have, it's, even if you take it, you know, like anywhere where there's like a bunch of skin together, you do have a sassy smell. And what I love with this fragrance is that, and I don't know what the notes are, and I haven't gone into the notes, so I don't know, so I'm not going to be able to share that with you, other than saying that it does have a sassiness to it, but it's that sassiness that makes it that repulsion attraction. And I think this is also why it threw Sandra off, that she didn't get this vanilla touch. When you stop and stay with the fragrance, it does have this beautiful floral touch, and it does have, when you stop and smell it, a vanilla touch to it. There is a gentleness in there, but not a gourmand vanilla that, you know, it's more of an animalic style vanilla. But it's really, really impressive. It's really gorgeous. As an evening fragrance, absolute magic. Sandra, because it has vanilla in it, she hasn't jumped into it. It's one of those things where I do love tricking her. I'll just leave it. I mean, unfortunately, it's very obvious what this fragrance is. I do love sort of leaving things and then she'll spray it where she normally says, oh, I don't like that fragrance. And then all of a sudden she falls in love with it because I've sort of distracted her and she's put it on. But this is one that I love wearing. As a summer fragrance, fantastic. Not in high heat, so this is not something that I would wear in high heat, but say even a warm evening over summer, going out, just gorgeous. And as I said before, so be careful, seductive, sensual, aphrodisiac is really its core. When it comes to its bing bam boom, when it comes to its performance, you're getting about 6 to 7 hours without a problem, and I find that the sillage and projection, all that, is within the moderate. So it's not huge. I was wearing it quite a bit when I was in Paris. The weather was incredible and amazing, and it was very noticeable around me. Anyway, it's a beautiful fragrance, strong recommendation. Now, one thing, again, if I go into packaging, is what the FLORAÍKU people do. Look, my hat's off to them. I know that you're, okay, and I get it, I'm not stupid. You are paying for this sort of extra packaging, but I do love the way they do things, you know. So one of the things, if you're not familiar with FLORAÍKU as a brand, one of the things that I love is that you have this beautiful bottle that sits on your shelf with this top, and it's a leather that's printed with the thing. You can take that off, and inside your little, they call this a fragrance bento box. Okay, so boop. So I took out the travel 10 mil, you put it in here, beep, and then you grab this lid thing here, and you pop it. Boom, now it becomes a little travel size that you can take with you as you go out and about and explore the world. Bada boom. So anyway, I do like these guys. I think they do a good job, and I do enjoy their fragrances. Boom. All right, let me move on. So gorgeous fragrance. Last one. a gentle gourmand is gorgeous as a summer fragrance. Not in high heat again, so the Sand and Skin is a great example where it's a lot more sensual, aphrodisiac, beautiful as an evening fragrance, things of that nature. Also as a going out, but even on a beautiful sunny day, Jardins de MISFAH by NUIT NOMADE is just incredible, just gorgeous. Sandra was wearing this the other day. She saw my lineup of fragrances and she's like, oh, Jardin, I missed this one. Why do you keep these away from me? So anyway, she sprayed it. It was a gorgeous day, and her sillage and her projection and her presence of when it comes to the fragrance, the longevity was 12 plus hours, was enormous. So this is a gorgeous, beautiful, confident, make you feel, so it gives you confidence, but also makes you feel sexy. It has this, I don't know, this, like, I feel good about myself, you know, and whereas FORTE brings, VITAE brings sunshine into my life, this one here, I don't know, you just feel an edge of like, I'm cool. Sounds weird, but you know, you feel like a cool guy, you know, you could be in Ocean's 11 and be wearing this, is what I'm saying. Really love it. Now, one of the magic notes in this fragrance here is a date-like quality to it. So the perfumer went to a lot of trouble, actually. I created here are the episodes here. You can go into a lot more detail. You can actually, I'll talk about the Discovery series with this, but here I talked about how Jerome went to, I think it was Oman, to eat an actual date in that landscape and feel what it would be like to feel the lusciousness of this date and its sweetness, etc., etc. And that's what he wanted to capture and put into here. And I think he's absolutely nailed it, because the other thing that I love about here is that it has a beautiful floral heart to it, but it hides the core note in plain sight. So Sandra doesn't like vanilla. She doesn't like rose in fragrances. And that's not so like something like radical rose. It's not something that resonates with her. Here, believe it or not, and she loves this fragrance, has both the rose absolute and a rose essence. The rose is hiding in plain sight because of these other notes that are surrounding it, whether it be that beautiful juicy date note. It also has things like cinnamon. It does have saffron in the fragrance, and all these notes. Again, it's a beautiful round composition. Different things come out at different time. I find that for me on that opening, I am getting that juicy sweetness from that date, but then as it migrates through, you are getting more of the floral pieces to it. There are a sweeter touch to it. It does have the saffron note, the spiciness. To my nose, I get a cinnamon touch to it, and I don't know whether there is cinnamon, but now not the woody bark like I have with CHIPMUNK. This is now more of the spice, the actual powder itself. Really impressive fragrance, gorgeous fragrance to have. This is one also Southern Hemisphere. Easy Southern Hemisphere, you can do this. Also easy Southern Hemisphere, you guys can do this too. But as a summer fragrance, is fantastic. And that's it, bada bing. 5 more fragrances for summer that you guys can enjoy. And yeah, I look forward to the comments. I've got a lot of comments on the last one, the last episode. So other summer fragrances that are on your radar. Try to find, today I really tried to find things that are a little bit more, not obscure, but a little bit more sort of, a lot of recommendations were made last week, which are, yes, absolutely, those are fantastic summer fragrances. I try to put on your radar things that are a little bit different, so yeah, so you can explore something that's new and fun. If you were here just for the review, thank you for your company. I do appreciate you being here. Hope you enjoyed that and saw something that might pique your interest. If you're going to leave me now, no problems at all. If you like the content, I'd love you to subscribe. It's a great support to us. I am going to go into community side of things now. The first part will be about the Discovery series, so if you want to stay for that, you're welcome to. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next Maté Talk. So let me move into Discovery series. And I've been banging on about this particular set that I'm going to do this Sunday. So this Sunday will be the first episode on the Sora Dora Discovery set. Now let me just go back into why am I doing this, okay? And for those who are brand new to this style of conversation. One thing that I discovered early on the channel is that people, okay, so I like bringing forward fragrances that are a little bit more sort of outside of the sort of normal, where everybody's talking about, okay? And just, you know, I do get requests, why don't you talk about these ones? But there's already a lot of conversation on them, so it's pointless having another person talk about it. So I like to bring something new and different to the party. One of the questions that were asked, or one of the sort of laments that were mentioned early on, is that I wish I could smell alongside you, which then created the idea, what if we created something that people can follow on? Initially, I worked alongside Libertine Perfumery. It was only for Australia though, and it basically meant myself and a gentleman by the name of Michael Marasma. We sat together in their showroom and we talked about fragrances. He was the expert, and then I was the perfume lover, and we sort of talked about that. The Aussies were able, or it still can. So if you're interested in any of these brands, you can jump on the Libertine website, book that, they'll send you the samples, and then you can watch the video. They'll send you a link for that video, and you can then watch it at your leisure, and that was the key of it. This inspired me to go, well, you know what, it would be great to now open this up to the world. I had a number of people from across the world going, I wish I could do this, but just Libertine don't send outside of Australia. And so it inspired me to start talking to brands who obviously distribute around the world and see if they would be interested in doing something with me. NUIT Nomad was probably the first brand that jumped in, well, actually was the first brand that jumped in full force and gave me their intense support, or their intense support, not just their full support, that's the word. Gorgeous set. So this is their 10 series. If you use the code NFC, actually I'll put it here because it interchanges between NFC and NFC 10, but this is the code here. If you use that code, you'll get free delivery and you'll also get a 10% discount. You can then watch these two videos and you can follow me. So now you and I can share a moment in time, essentially, where I will, and I do my best to talk to the screen, ask you, smell this first, now compare it to that. And even something like the patchouli note, which is done in a few ways here in this set, compare how the patchouli note can be accentuated in different ways to create a different personality and character. So if you want to follow me on that, you can jump on the existing production that is there, that you'll get that delivered to you, and bada bing. So I'm doing the same thing here for Sora Dora. This is their 11 set series, 7 from the black collection and 4 of the white collection so far. There will be 7 in that white collection, but so far there's 4 in that. So this episode is coming out this Sunday. Okay, so if you'd like to participate, use the code NFC10. You'll also get 10% discount and free delivery, which is pretty impressive and very generous. Can I just say, this set in itself, all right? So even after you finish following me and you're like, cool, that was fun. One, the actual sprayers, the actual samples, or tester, sorry, samples are really impressive. I get frustrated, and nothing against zoologists, but this style is really hard because it does this little, and it doesn't give you a proper feel of the fragrance. It doesn't spread it across, you know, my body. Whereas these ones here give you a proper spray, so it actually creates a radius. Really impressive. The other thing that I have to point out, and actually Kevin pointed this out to me, the attention to detail. Watch this. A soft close. I mean, I love it when brands put energy and effort into something that is functional. Essentially, it's just a functional, I mean, look at the, sorry, I need to point this out, the nerd in me. But there's these cards here with all the notes and the explanation, the storyline to it. I don't know, I love clever packaging. I love when brands put that little bit extra and yeah, just make it interesting. So, Sora Dora coming out. Actually, just on that, KAJAL were very generous. Here's another one that was created for NFC. So I showed them this concept. I said, would love to do something with KAJAL. I have a lot of your fragrances, would be great to share and create something for people who want to participate. They actually created this for me. So this felt box and everything else was created for NFC, essentially. This was such a great success. It's currently out of stock, so if you jump on their website, you'll see that it's not there. That, during Excellence, they presented this to me. Look at this. This is the new this is coming out. This is the new Discovery series. So one, the packaging on it is superb. Now watch this. Boop. And you open up like a flower. There are 4 of these boxes, and each box has 5, because I mentioned to them that I like doing a lineup of 5. I think 5 is enough for an episode where you can smell and experience and not go nose blind and not sort of get fatigued from smelling too many fragrances. So they created 20 of their fragrances. They're ones that they want to promote and talk about, essentially. Created this beautiful discovery box, which will be coming out soon on their website. All right, so that's another one that's coming out very shortly, and that'll be part of the Discovery series. There obviously will be 4 episodes that will come out, and I'm happy to also advise very shortly, Om and Jane have also been a part of that conversation. So they're coming out in the next couple of weeks. Is this, they call this a tasting menu, which I love the name of it, very clever. Another one, incredible packaging. This is the fruity and floral, and these are 11 fragrances, or 12 fragrances that are part of that fruity floral expression. All right, so that is another one that's coming out soon. So the idea behind it is, if you want to follow me, you can watch it just as a normal video. So this will be available to anybody to watch at their leisure. But if you want to follow me and now experience this alongside me, there will be, I also, when I speak with the brands, ask them, can they do something for the subscribers? So they're offering 10% discount. Where they can, people do offer free delivery or even some assistance. Sometimes they don't, okay? But so people get upset with me, you know, do you know how much the delivery is? And it's also out of their hands too, you know, in the sense that that's the cost that they're paying for to send stuff out. Anyway, bottom line is, I want to create more of these, and that way I can share it with you guys, and you guys can now experience together. If you're not able to go to these, to find these in your local boutiques, boom. If you have any other discovery brands that you'd like me to create discovery series on, let me know. All right, so this is something that I'm now going a lot deeper in. I am sharing this as a concept to a lot of brands. PANA is going to be one of them, by the way. So PANA is definitely something that we're looking at expanding in. So yeah, so let me know your brands, and I'd love to actually bring that to life in time. So it's not going to be straight away, but in time, yes. The last thing I want to say is the 9-day luxury tour, which is happening in September. If you're unaware about what's happening, or if you're unaware about this conversation, you can jump on the KM Fragrance Tours website. Myself and Kevin like putting together bespoke experiences which bring to life perfumery more than just spray, smell, blah, blah. We now meet the founders of these brands, or the perfumers. The lineup that we have for this year is exceptional. These are people who I love and respect. I love their brands, I love their fragrances, I love what they do. So we're gonna have a chance to spend time with them. The other thing too that we enjoy about these tours is about the joy of travel. So we are staying in beautiful properties, we are eating beautiful food, as in, you know, we've actually hand selected all these things so that you guys can enjoy. And yeah, and it's the joy of travel. Now, last week I answered a number of questions when it comes to hotels. So if you want to look at that, where are we staying is an important thing. So if you have a look at last week's episode, I went into a lot more detail. One of the things that I'm super excited about is Magna Paz. This is a brand new hotel, brand new concept when it comes to hotel and perfumery. The whole building is actually or used to be a perfume factory, which has been repurposed and converted into a hotel. So coming up in about a week or so, I actually did a tour and a walkthrough with the owners of the business, Ambra and Roberto, and we go through in more detail, what does it mean, or what does this Magna Paz, Le Hôtel à Parfum, actually mean? So we break this down and showcase this for you. That episode's coming out in about, as I said, in about a week's time, so you can have a look at that. And that's actually part of the tour. So Magna Paz is the hotel that we're staying at in Milan, and that's the very first hotel that you guys will be staying at. Boop, and done. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. Actually, put forward your next suggestion for a zoologist that I should grab. I had cow as another option. That looked also very intriguing. So tell me what you think I should test for next week, and I'll do another testing next week and share more on that. Look forward to your comments. I did a really good job last week. I answered, I think, everybody's comments. So I look forward to doing it again. Thanks, everyone. See you guys all on the next episode.